good evening and welcome to our winter concert here at the Libertyville High School Band Program. My name is Adam Gore and I have the pleasure and privilege of serving as the director of bands here. Normally we open with music and not an announcement, but since we have a special guest conducting our first piece, I thought I'd introduce him to you before we started off our tune. The Percussion Ensemble up here is in front of you. This is our younger group of percussionists that work as an ensemble both by themselves and with the Symphonic Band. And we have working with them tonight to open our concert, a young man who is completing his music education coursework at Illinois State University and is spending these first 8 weeks of the spring semester student teaching with us. So, to direct the percussion ensemble through Brian Bloom's Detour, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Noah Lempel. There we go. That was Edward Freytag's Brazilian Dreams, and of course the fabulous Dustin Helvey leading the percussion ensemble. We're going to have the first of 3 very quick stage changes tonight as we dismiss Symphonic Winds to go get warmed up, and we bring Symphonic Band out onto the stage. They'll be out here momentarily. Symphonic Band is the youngest of our 3 wind groups that you'll hear from this evening. They do a great job, and they've got 2 wonderful pieces for you. First, we'll bring out Mr. Lampell again to play through Kataj Copley's Halcyon Hearts, which is a lovely opener. And then we'll follow that up with one of the large-scale works for Symphonic Band, but at a younger grade level. Andrew Boyson Jr.'s Symphony No. 4 for wind band actually features 4 separate distinct movements. Usually symphonies we think of as being professional compositions, but Mr. Boyson decided to write one for either young high school or advanced middle school band that will be performing tonight. Uses a lot of traditional symphonic techniques and consists of 4 movements. Since the composer wrote it that all 4 movements are intended to be part of one larger work, we ask at the end of the symphony, which I'll be conducting, that you hold your applause until the end of the 4th movement and then recognize the group for their accomplishments at that time. Between the 2 tunes, we're going to dismiss Wind Ensemble so they can go get warmed up as well because they've got a big program tonight too. We're going to go ahead, let the Symphonic Band take a tuning pitch here, and then we'll bring Mr. Lampell back out to do Halcyon Hearts, and then I'll follow that up with the Boyson Symphony. So thank you once again. Here's the Symphonic Band, and Ryan, if you throw us some tuning pitches, we'll take it away. All right, that was the Symphonic Band and Percussion Ensemble. They did a great job with that symphony. It's really cool to see big works like that for a young band. Next up, we're bringing out the Symphonic Winds. We can take that tape off to walk across, guys. As long as we put it back, it's okay. Take it off, it's okay. There's nothing in that row. They just need it empty for the recorder. And then we'll put it back at the end. It's okay. All right, so we'll get there. We'll get there. It's okay. So I want to draw your attention to a lot of great things going on. Today you've heard from the Symphonic Band, Symphonic Winds, Wind Ensemble will be coming up. All of these groups will be featured next week at our Solo and Ensemble Festival we host every year. That's next Friday, right here at LHS. We welcome our sender schools, the fabulous musicians from Rondout, Oak Grove, and Highland schools, joining us Friday afternoon, evening, playing their solo and ensemble pieces. I know you'll know some of those folks up on stage there or in the various classrooms, so please come out and support those folks. We also are looking for a few more volunteers if you've got a couple hours to spare as a room monitor. Speaking of volunteers, while the last of Symphonic Winds gets settled, our wonderful parent volunteer organization, FAST, Fine Arts Support Team, does a ton of stuff to support our groups, whether it's through clinicians, scholarships, or any one of 100 other things. And one of the best ways that they do that is through their Candygrams. So you could send a special sweet to a special someone on stage. They have the table out in the lobby, and you can purchase one of those. Those will be delivered to your student on Tuesday when we next have school. So I'm going to let Symphonic Winds take their first tuning note, and then we'll present for you our program. We've got a great set tonight. We start off with A Slavic Farewell by Vasilia Gapkin. This is a traditional Eastern European march, really neat piece. We'll follow it up by a much more contemporary tune by Michelle Fernandez called Of Endless Miles and Empty Rafts, which tells a little bit about her parents' story as they emigrated to South Florida from Cuba. And it features some really neat Latin rhythms that you don't normally hear in the concert ensembles. Then we'll bring Mr. Lampel back out to close us off with a piece by a local Illinois composer, Todd Stalter's Ignition. And Mr. Stalter is celebrating his final year as he enters retirement from Eureka High School downstate. So we're going to let them take a tuning pitch, and then I'll take them through a Slavic farewell. Enjoy Symphonic Winds. Thank you, Mr. Lempel and Symphonic Winds. Symphonic Winds, we're going to send you down to these seats now where you started the evening as we bring out the Wind Ensemble for their portion of the concert to conclude it with two great tunes for you. I'll tell you more about those in a second, but if you're wondering, hey, Mr. Gore, as much as we love hearing you talk, and all the students just laughed, as much as we love hearing you talk, what other ways can we entertain ourselves during this concert? Well, you can look at the fabulous student artwork provided by the folks in our wonderful visual art department. Those are AP Art student works on the front of your programs, or you could read the program notes written by each of our students inside, learn a little bit more about the pieces. Next up, we're going to bring out the Wind Ensemble, and they are our most advanced group here. A lot of great players in this ensemble. They've got two great tunes for you tonight. The first is our concerto. It's called the Glass Bead Game. It's by an Indiana-based composer named James Beckel, a phenomenal horn player in of his own right. And he wrote this tune as a horn feature. Every year we audition. All of our seniors are eligible to take the audition for the concerto. You're going around behind, that's good. All of our seniors in the band and orchestra are eligible to audition for the concerto. This year we selected two winners. And tonight you're going to hear from Annie Brody on this wonderful piece. I'll tell you a little bit more about her in a second when we bring her out after the Wind Ensemble gets set and we start to tune. The next tune after that, and I'll talk a bit between them just to introduce a couple of special folks on stage, but the next tune is the Symphony No. 3 by Boris Kozevnikov. It's subtitled Slavyanskaya, and it's a great work, another Eastern European work. I have, I'll be honest, I have a mild love affair with Russian composers. We did the Festive Overture and the Festival Concert and the Slavic Farewell and all that. Great writing comes out of that particular region of the world, musically speaking. And this is an interesting piece because it came from a tour that the United States Marine Band, the President's Own, did. In the early 90s, they were one of the first groups that was allowed to travel through Russia, Soviet Union at the time, travel through on a goodwill tour in the spirit of Glasnost, right? And all of these works that had been written during the Cold War that were not allowed past the Iron Curtain were all of a sudden available. And John Bourgeois, who was the director of the Marine Band at the time, took a number of those, adapted them to the modern American instrumentation, and brought them back with the Marine Band to the United States. So this piece is a large-scale symphony, after Andy's work here. The other piece is a large-scale symphony. It lasts about 12 minutes long, 4 movements, just like the one you heard Symphonic Band play so well earlier. I think you'll really enjoy it. I'm going to let them take a tuning pitch. We'll introduce our soloist, and we will go from there. We settled enough to take tuning pitches, Wind Ensemble? I've talked enough? The audience got a little taste of what you get to hear every day with me rambling on for 3 minutes straight. Cool. Was I moderately coherent at least? All right, here we go. We'll take some tuning notes. I'll introduce our soloist, and off we go with the glass beat game. You can read Annie's full bio in the program, but I'll just give you some highlights. She is a phenomenal musician. Every year in November, we celebrate our students selected to the ILMEA district bands and orchestras. Annie has the unique ability that she has been selected in both the classical side with her horn work and also on our jazz side for both of the last 2 years in the highly competitive District 7 jazz and concert ensembles. She did a phenomenal job with her horn preparation on this great piece under the direction of Brenda Kublank, her private teacher. And she's going to prepare to spend next few years in music school. We're not quite sure where yet, some auditions still to go. She's going to actually be a jazz guitar major, but she could just as easily be a horn major, as you're about to hear. So please give a very warm welcome to our concerto soloist, Ms. Annie Brody. jazz glass beat game, first movement. We'll have the symphony next. Before we do, a couple just pieces of order. First of all, thank you to all of you for all of your support. I say this every concert, and I mean it every time. I've had the good fortune to spend the last 12 years here in Libertyville, and this is truly a special place to make music. A great opportunity to have wonderful co-teachers here at this school and fabulous directors at all of our sender schools that make music making in this particular community something really special that is not found everywhere in the country or even in the Chicago area. And I thank all of you for that, both the teachers and then the parents as well, because we know it is a great deal of sacrifice for you to help get your students to this point. So thank you all for all of that. That's a really special thing. Symphonic band, Symphonic Winds members, remember at the end we do need to strike the stage because this is the first of many concerts in our winter concert cycle. Next week we have our choral cabaret, as well as the solo ensemble that I mentioned. We've got our orchestra concert the week after that, and a few weeks following that, a jazz performance. So there's a lot going on here, and we hope that you will join us for all of those things. We're going to take a quick tuning pitch before the next tune. Before I do, though, I mentioned that when I was introducing Annie, that she was selected to our ILMEA district festivals a number of times. We also had 4 of our students selected this year for our All-State Festival, which is very competitive and highly sought-after recognition. Thousands of students audition every year. And for the opportunity to participate in our ensembles. And I want to have our 4 All-State students recognized, call them by name, and ask you to hold your applause at the end until they're all been recognized. They, last couple of weeks, 2 weeks ago, went down to Peoria and had a wonderful opportunity to play with some phenomenal musicians and great conductors down there. So let's work our way from the back row forward. On euphonium, we had Joey Kim, trombone, Andrew Schindler, and Braden Weaver, and on flute, Dakota Olson. So please give them a hand, our All-State musicians. All right, well, I'm going to let them tune. We hope to see you all at our next events here. Our next band concert is April 30th, while you're here. Both our bands and our wonderful symphony and chamber orchestras and our other concerto competition winner, Dakota, play her flute solo. So please join us then. Best of luck, and thank you once again for supporting music in your children's lives in the Libertyville area.